Oh my god. Let's f***ing go. Wait, there's more? Oh! Surely he's the last guy. Let's go! Oh my god, what a comeback. Woo. Hello Kindred, welcome back to the channel. It's now Monday, and the PC closed tests are all wrapped up. How were they? The Ventru clan were present. Were they decent? Let's sink our fangs into it today with some impressions that I managed to get from the many hours that I put into it over the weekend. The good and the bad. Let's get into it. So first things first, it was so great to have Bloodhunt back, even if it was only for a short time. I've really missed that wall-hopping vampiric cluster f***. I was a little rusty going in, but soon found my feet again and managed a bunch of wins in solos and trios. So what was new? Well, among lots of additions to progression with the new perk system, allowing you to customise your playstyle when you level up individual clans' archetypes, additional areas of the map to play in, a completely new mode, new weapons and so on, but the most obvious new addition was the inclusion of the Ventru clan by way of the Enforcer archetype. These sharp-dressed men and women I was a bit skeptical of when we first saw them at Sharkmob's most recent developer livestream. As a brewer main, it was their lack of mobility with just that unyielding charge attack, which had me question whether or not I'd actually enjoy playing as them. But I'm pleased to say, after an hour or two, I really started to understand the playstyle that the Enforcer leans towards. They're a terrifying tank class capable of immobilizing your target, becoming briefly invincible to help close the distance and take out your prey. Using their abilities correctly, you really start to feel the character of the Ventru coming through on a cleverly designed level. The Ventru themselves as a clan believe that they are better than everyone else. The way you can stare your opponent in the eyes in close proximity and watch them panic, trying to think of a way out of their unknowingly inevitable death, was a thing of beauty, and truly makes you feel powerful. The build I gelled most with was starting each match with 2 sanguine blood resonance. This allowed me to feel more confident jumping into fights earlier in the game, knowing I had some passive healing from the get-go. As this is a class which encourages close quarters engagements, I found it quite important to be able to recover those crucial few hit points as you weave in and out of cover, destroying the other vamps. The weapons I found most effective with this class were shotguns. For me, the purple pump is king, but the blue will do, and an AK, with the ultimate icing on the cake being a katana for the moments where you need to deflect bullets between cooldowns of your flesh of marble skill. Also, the passive ability Subjugating Presence makes enemies who are near to you have reduced movement speed, allowing you to easily catch them with melee swings as they desperately run for their lives. I mean, just check out how stylish you can be when you combine the unyielding charge with the Scourge Blade's right-click attack. Very nice. Some people were really quick to call the Ventru Enforcer OP, but I don't think they particularly are. If you spot one, you just never want to get too close because that's the range you'll find yourself trapped in. This happens all the time when a roster of a game gets added to. The community don't want to know how to deal with a new character or class and immediately blame the character instead of learning themselves and countering appropriately. This is extremely common in fighting games when a DLC fighter is added, for example, and the internet blows up calling for it to get immediately nerfed 5 minutes after its launch. The best way to learn how to defeat the newcomers is pick them up yourself and learn how they operate, so then you can reverse engineer a countermeasure. Hey guys, sorry to stop the video here, but if you are enjoying this content and you like my videos, please take a second to just rest your thumb over the like button and then rest it down and click it. And if you could hit that subscribe button for me as well, because I've got so much recorded footage from the Bloodhunt tests and I'll be making videos on them for the foreseeable. Anyway, thank you in advance and let's get back to the video. The new mode, simply self-titled Bloodhunt, was an absolute blast and one of the most enjoyable solo experiences I've played in Battle Royales for a very long time. It's not without its faults, and we'll get to those in just a moment. The extra life idea is extremely fun, as this game can get wild with the third parties. Constantly dying while trying to finish your fights when we were in early access to someone waiting for their moment to cheap shot both of you was rather frustrating. Knowing you'd spend so long queuing up for another match was just enough to switch the game off at times. I'm also delighted to see that the wait times are dramatically shorter than before. Getting into matches feels on par with other big battle royales, and being able to come back from an early death in the game to go on to win the match feels like the comeback mechanic that this game really needed. I liked the addition of the 1-up humans that you can drink from to replenish your extra life too. This should help more passive or casual players not feel so nervous to push themselves to fight more. Now, when you die, you'll spawn close to where you died with a blue AK and a spiked bat. Now, this is polarizing with the community at the moment. Some saying that it's nice to be able to go back for what's left of your loot and rematch with your killer, and others saying it's unfair, as likely they would have been getting third-partied shortly after your departure and are either still fighting or weak from the fight, only to be shot in the back by the person they've literally just killed. I think I can see both sides, but if you spawn somewhere else on the map, it would make more sense as a reset and stop people thinking about going straight back to the scene of the crime for round 2. It would encourage players to just accept that they lost that fight, reflect on it, loot up again, and either organically come across their killer again or just fight anyone else they find. Also, I'm not too sure that the blue AK is fair to spawn with, as many times after I respawned, I didn't even bother looking for loot and just lasered the other players and stole their loot. I do wonder what everyone thinks about that though, so leave your opinions in the comments. The new areas of the map were fun to explore. The train station was a popular spawn point for me during the test, mainly so I could check it out, but also I quickly familiarised myself with the loot spawns and the gold chest to leave their arm to the teeth. It allows you to easily push car park or head towards terrace where you can almost guarantee you'll find players. The movement and just the flow of leaping through Prague, listening out for roof tiles being crunched or bricks cracking from incoming vampires was really something that I've been missing in the months between the early access and these tests. It's really what separates this game still with the other battle royales. And of course, the fact that you're a freaking vampire with superpowers. Okay, now let's talk about some of the things that were not so desirable, as it's only fair to include everything, not just the greatness, but also where work is needed to be done. The biggest gripe I had in early access, besides the balance issues early on, was the climbing and mantling. It seemed to be hit and miss as to whether it would be smooth and work correctly, or whether it would struggle on certain shaped terrain, causing some extremely unattractive animations. As the game knows that you're trying to scale an object, but the animation doesn't match the task, and you will lose control of your character briefly before either falling back off or shuddering to where you wanted to go but losing all momentum in the process. This is likely because the map of Prague has so many differently shaped obstacles and roofing that these things are just bound to happen. I can't help but think maybe some added animations, albeit a lot of work to do, but maybe where there are overhanging roofs or odd-shaped objects in the way, your character could jump towards the camera a bit. I'm thinking almost like Spider-Man PS4 types of contextual stuff here, but I'm not a game developer, so I'm unsure how viable that is to implement, but there must be a way around this issue, as it's all problem solving in this line of work. I was, however, happy to see small improvements to this during the playtest, but sadly there are still many moments where this occurs, and not only is it immersion breaking when it happens, but if you are in an intense battle with another player, this small hiccup can get you killed more often than I'd like to admit. It's a shame, but I do think it's something that can be ironed out over time. A lot of Sharkmob's resources were apparently directed at trying to get the game to run on many different system combinations smoothly, and I'm sure that is not an easy task. So give them some time. They want this game to be a smooth operation just as much as we do, guys. I do look forward to playing the game once these things have been fixed though, because the movement and traversal are some of this game's main mechanics, and we need that to be working as close to perfect as possible before we even think about ranked. Can you imagine being in a clutch situation and then losing to something like that? It'll be heartbreaking. But I do have faith in the developers, so I'm not worried at all. It's just a matter of time. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Bullet Reg Bug. During the playtest, and I'm sure it had something to do with the Ventru's Skin of Marble ability, but there were many times when bullets were being fired at enemies only for them not to register at all that they even hit a target, let alone do any damage. Now, I won't spend too long on this point, as it's quite obvious how game-breaking that is. I also know that the team at Sharkmob are aware that it was happening, and I'd like to think the next time that we get to play the game, either another test for good measure or just a full-blown release, that it will be fixed. Maybe that's why people were saying the Venture were OP. The new weapon in the game, the 9-barrel, which is a 9-barreled rifle, not a shotgun, is pretty cool from a visual design point, but after a few uses, I didn't really see it being too viable currently, as the damage output for the rate of fire and the recoil doesn't really compare and line up with some of the other semi-auto weapons already in the game. It is brand new, and obviously weapon tweaking is always an ongoing effort to balance, so I'm sure at some point it'll be worth ditching a revolver for. I also felt that when down, there should be an option to give up. When you're downed in the red gas, you have to wait a very long time to die to tick damage, and it's very frustrating. Also, some players like to grief, i.e. down you, emote while you're on your knees, and then as you stand up, immediately down you again, and so on until you quit. This can be easily avoided with just a give up button. Now, I know a lot of PS5 owners have been watching my videos and waiting for the game, so let me tell you about my experience with the new controller support, as I'm sure the majority of you are not going to be plugging in a mouse and keyboard into your consoles. Although that wouldn't be a bad shout. The new controller support sees a vast improvement over what I'd experienced in the early access period. The aim assist is pretty strong, but I don't think it was too much, and certainly doesn't drag to your target. It merely slows down when aiming near an enemy, allowing for your panicking thumb to make micro adjustments to stay on target easier. I did, however, find accessing the item wheel to use blood bags or armor plates quickly was quite difficult. That's just me personally, and I suppose any Apex players on controller out there are used to this system, as it's basically the same. You hold right on the D-pad and then use the right stick to choose one of the 4 items. But on mouse and keyboard, I just press one button and I'm already applying an armor plate, blood bag or syringe. So I'm not sure it can compete with that in terms of speed, but I'm always happy to be proved wrong. I also felt the free look camera sensitivity was tough to get where I felt comfortable. In this game, you need to be able to snap in a certain direction quickly, whether it be for movement's sake or to turn on an enemy. I found that there wasn't any aim assist, at least none that I noticed, while free looking, only while aiming down sights. As a lot of the fights in this game vary from hipfire to ADS, if you were to ADS in every situation, you will surely lose the fight, as it stops you from strafing or moving quickly in general. You want to be able to climb, jump off walls, shoot at your target almost the entire time, and I did find that very tough on the controller. Again, these are just my personal experiences and I don't speak for all controller players, but in all the battle royales I play, I always use a controller as I grew up on consoles and gamepads have been my bread and butter my whole life. Apex and Warzone have options for response curve, which define how the camera rotation responds to stick movement. This option would be a welcome addition to Bloodhunt on controller, as I believe it would help the player have more control over executing exactly the movement of the camera they wanted and fine-tune their experience. Of course, being optional to give more choice to the player about how their camera feels to turn. I personally ended up sticking with the mouse and keyboard in the end to play Bloodhunt, as this was the game to make me learn how to actually play a shooter with the mouse and keys. My aim isn't as accurate as I know it can be, but I've seen a huge improvement in general, and now I'm in the position where I feel mostly comfortable using it as an input method. With more practice, I know I can get it to where I want it to be. Anyway, let's try and wrap this up, as this video has become way longer than I know my watch times usually sit at. In conclusion, I thought the Bloodhunt test at the weekend was an absolute blast. I played for 11 straight hours on the Friday, which I know probably isn't healthy or advisable, but I just couldn't stop pressing new game to just try and beat my kill record or just record some crazy clips, which is a testament to the game's replayability factor. Couple that with the added perk system for each archetype, you really feel like you're achieving things every match to customize your class and fine-tune your playstyle. The new Bloodhunt mode is great for everyone, from casual players who just want to hop in for a bit and not take it too seriously, and for those who just want to throw themselves into fight after fight. With some balances to respawns, I think this mode will shine. The Ventru clan are welcome in my opinion, and I wonder what the second archetype will be. Thanks to Andre Tudor for pointing out that I did manage to guess one of the Enforcer's abilities in my Ventru clan prediction video. It's always nice to speculate. Sometimes you call it and you get things right. A hotfix to the unintended God mode bug, and I think we're going to be good to go with this clan. With some needed improvements to the smoothness of traversal, along with everything that we've highlighted here in this video, I still feel firmly confident that this Battle Royale could blow up and become extremely popular to both watch and play. That's everything from me today, guys. If you think I've missed anything out that's really worth highlighting, put it in the comments. And also, I want to know your opinions on what you thought the test was like. Did it run well on your system? I personally didn't have too many performance issues, like some people have been reporting. But let me know what your experience was like and what you'd love to see Bloodhunt become. Also, I want to say a big thank you to all of the viewers who watch my videos, and welcome to the new subscribers that we got since the last video I posted. But until next time, guys, I'll see ya when I'm looking at ya.